I'll go you one better, Bill. Maybe Oswald didn't even pull the trigger.
They say perception is reality. That what you believe becomes truth. Not because it's actually true, but just because enough people believe it. That law? It killed me before the bullet did. I was the villain the second they needed one. The second they saw me through a cracked lens. Sunday morning, I'm cuffed, surrounded. Lights flashing, people shouting like they're watching a show. And then Ruby steps forward. I can't move. I open my mouth to speak one last time, and then, a second before the bullet, I knew. I knew I wasn't getting out of this alive. I told them I was just a patsy.
One statement, please. I'd like some legal representation. These police officers have not allowed me to have any. I don't know what this is all about.
I killed the president.
No, sir, I didn't. People keep asking me that. Sir?
You shoot the president?
I work in that building.
Were you in the building at the time?
Naturally, if I work in that building, yes, sir.
Back up, man. Did you shoot the president?
No, they're taking me in because of the fact that I lived in the Soviet Union. I'm just a patsy.
The president?
But they didn't listen, or maybe they weren't supposed to. Because some stories aren't erased, they're rewritten. They rewind the tape and say, there he is, 6th floor, rifle in the window. But all I see when I rewind is a lie taking shape. I was in the break room. I walked out calm. No panic, no gun. They told the world my prints were on that gun, but those prints? They mysteriously showed up after I was out of the picture. They didn't find them until after I was already dead. They had the story mapped out from the start. All they needed was the right pieces to make it look real. Because they decided the ending before the evidence even showed up. Perception, now that's the real weapon. It doesn't need fingerprints, motive, or logic. Just a shaky image and the right amount of fear. One blurred figure in a window, one whispered rumor, and the world fills in the blanks with its own fears. It doesn't need proof. Just suggestion, a whisper. A single image out of focus, and suddenly the story writes itself. Show the public a blurry photo, something vague, shadowy, and then continue feeding them fear. Stir in the right headlines and boom, a nation doesn't wait for evidence. It decides what it wants to see. People weren't looking at facts. They were looking for a villain. And I was handed to them, gift wrapped in doubt. Just in case you missed it, this country didn't see what happened. It saw what it wanted to happen, because the truth, the real story, it never had a chance. Didn't matter if it made sense or not, it just felt true. Listen, I was not in that window. I didn't fire that rifle. But when perception wins, the truth gets buried in silence. My truth got buried in silence. Funny thing about people, we think we're looking for the truth, but most of the time, we're just looking for something that makes sense to us. All it took was a blurry photo and the right kind of fear. And suddenly, I became the guy in the window. Didn't matter if it was me. Didn't matter if it even made sense. Once the public saw what they thought was real, the rest of the story didn't stand a chance. Perception filled in the blanks. It gave the nation what it needed, a villain. And once that label stuck, no amount of truth could scrape it off. I wasn't there. I didn't fire that rifle. But when perception takes over, facts become background noise. So yeah, maybe I never got to tell my story. But everyone else sure had one ready for me. During my time in custody, I spoke over and over. I said I was a patsy. I denied the charges. I tried to explain, but it didn't matter. They weren't listening, not really. Some of those recordings still exist. You can find them, but they're damaged, or maybe deliberately distorted. Garbled sound, missing pieces. Like someone didn't want the whole story told. But here's the strange part. When you reverse some of those clips, when you actually play them backward, certain words come through clearer than they do going forward. Sounds crazy, right? But try it. Take the audio. Slow it down. Reverse it. You'll hear something that was never meant to be heard.
The fact that I did live for a time in the Soviet Union gives me excellent qualifications to repudiate charges that Cuba and the Fair Play for Cuba Committee is communist controlled. I think it's rather obvious as to why and when and where, because of the fact that we certainly don't have any trade with them. We are discouraging trade with that country.
People say the tape doesn't lie, but sometimes it doesn't tell the truth either. At least not the truth you're supposed to find on the first playthrough. They gave me a script, forced lines, a story that wasn't mine. But I didn't just follow orders, I left breadcrumbs. I embedded clues. I hid the truth in plain sight. Now it's up to you, play it again. Backwards this time. If you tell the same lie long enough, people stop looking for the truth. They said I was angry. A traitor, a loner. They played the film, froze the frame, and filled in the blanks. But here's the real law, the one that mattered more than justice. It's not what happened. It's what people believe happened. That's what shapes memory. That's what shapes history. Perception isn't just a lens, it's a weapon. And I was on the wrong side of it. The truth doesn't always shout. Sometimes it hides in the static, echoing behind the so-called official story they want you to hear. They painted me as the villain. But maybe I was the warning. The one they silenced before he could finish the sentence. They said the case was closed. The story complete. But now, decades later, they're releasing files. Bit by bit, just a portion. Just enough to stir the dust, but never enough to clear the air. Why now? And more importantly, why not all of it? If the truth was simple, wouldn't it already be public? I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to look deeper, reverse the tapes, rewind the headlines. Don't just listen with your ears, listen with your mind. Perception shaped my death. Maybe now your perception can give me back my voice. Not every ending is final. Some play on repeat. They left you clues, buried in files, scattered in static, hidden between the lines. So what are you waiting for? Pull back the curtain before someone closes it again. What do you believe? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Reverse the clips. Look again. Truth or deception? What does your perception tell you?